King Charles III, who's just finished this extraordinary speech. And I was going to say a few things off the top, which we'd scripted, but I'm not going to do that now because I feel like the speech has taken things over a little bit. Because I was watching that with some people, and I said at the end, what do you think? And to a man and woman, they said, he nailed it. That was an amazing speech. That's the kind of speech which makes pubs go silent, which makes people think, wow, this is our new king, our new monarch. It's a big moment for this country. It's a big moment in our history. And the speech, I felt, was perfectly pitched. It was the perfect length. It hit all the right notes. And it made me feel, as a British subject, confident about the way we're going to be going under this king. Someone who's been, let's remember, the longest reigning apprentice to be a monarch that there's ever been. Decade after decade, wondering if he would ever actually get the top job. And now, through the appalling circumstance of his mother's death, and imagine how difficult it is to address the country and the world literally hours after you've lost your mother. That in itself is a remarkable thing to be doing. And I thought King Charles III absolutely nailed the speech. Let's just take a little look at some of that speech again.
To my darling Mama, as you begin your last great journey to join my dear late Papa, I want simply to say this. Thank you. Thank you for your love and devotion to our family and to the family of nations you have served so diligently all these years. May flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Just breathe. Well, let's go to TalkTV's royal editor, Sarah Hewson, who's at Buckingham Palace. Sarah, I was really moved by that speech. I've got to be honest, I didn't know how Charles was going to play it. It was the biggest speech of his entire life, the most important, the most consequential, and, of course, done in the harrowing backdrop of losing his mother. And I thought for all those reasons, under the huge pressure of the world watching, I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Piers, I agree with you wholeheartedly. He's had a long time to think about this speech and craft this speech for this moment. But it was a speech that really matched the magnitude of the moment. It was moving, it was touching, it gave us an insight into the kind of king that Charles III will be. It was a speech of unity, bringing people together, different nations, different faiths, and bringing his own family together, reaching out to Harry and Meghan. It was a speech where he honoured his late mother. The bit that made me gulp was where he talked about her last great journey to join my dear Papa. And he praised his wife, Camilla, now the Queen Consort. And particularly given the images we saw earlier, Piers, of the King and Queen Consort arriving here at Buckingham Palace, those huge crowds. Charles, I think, particularly moved and buoyed by the reactions from the crowd. I thought Camilla looked very emotional. And I think this is overwhelming for her too. And we heard that in the speech as King Charles set out just what this means to her and the role that she will play in supporting him and how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, honestly, when they went on that walkabout, I was watching glued to the screen, wondering, how's this going to go? What you can't ever plan for, you can plan all the logistics. You can't plan for public reaction. You've no idea what's going to happen. You've no idea how the public is going to react. Are they going to be pro this guy, who's our new monarch, or not? And it was incredibly moving and stirring to watch line after line of the British public beginning to shout out, you know, God save the King, and start to sing the national anthem with the new lyrics of the King. And I found it really moving. And then I saw Camilla, who did look emotional, as indeed he looked like he'd been very emotional. But I think they were also probably very taken aback by the warmth of the crowd and the reaction. You even had a woman leap forward and plant a big kiss on Charles. In fact, we've got her later on the programme. She'll be on the show to talk about what it's like to be the first woman to kiss the new king, apart from his queen consort. I just found it really...
I bet she didn't imagine that when she had her breakfast this morning, Piers.
But it was very... And what was interesting to me, in the crowd, people of all ages, all ethnicities. This was real cosmopolitan Britain meeting their new king for the first time as king and clearly loving him. And I thought that I remember
I think you're right.
Well, so I was going to say, a few weeks ago, he went down to the East End and a similar situation happened with a crowd. And I remember watching that and going, wow, I've not seen him do that before. And that was great. And today I saw a lot more of it. I want to see a lot more of this from Miss King. You know, literally mingling with the people, because I think that is the way forward for him. What did you think?
Well, it was his first walkabout as king. The walkabout created by his mother, the Queen, who realised you needed to be seen to be believed. And obviously at a moment of deep personal grief, and yet he knew that he had to get out there among the people, and we were waiting for someone from the royal family to do that today. I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be Charles, because so sombre and so significant were the duties that lay before him today. I wondered if we might see Prince William or the Earl and Countess of Wessex, for example, coming out at Balmoral earlier on today. But to see him there, shaking hands with people, taking the kisses, receiving flowers.
It was great.
And the dynamics between he and Camilla were really interesting as well. She was just there behind him, and then she stepped aside, and then he carried on the walkabout, and then he waited and took her with him, and they saw those flowers. And one of the most striking images that will stay with me from today, Piers, was of the two of them walking through the gates of Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, it was so powerful, wasn't it?
To face their future.
Yeah, in their new home.
Incredibly powerful.
Yeah, in their new home. Sarah, thank you very much for that. It was great to watch. It must have been great to be down there. I appreciate you giving us that update.